This is going to be my dream football studio. Now, if you're an OG to the channel, I've been doing this for just over 9 years at this point, and I have changed studios probably 5 or 6 times. Obviously, I've gained and lost 50 pounds, and my hair has gone a long way since then too. And that's because I moved around for a while. When I actually initially started this, I was in high school, I was in my bedroom, then I moved into my parents' basement. Next, I moved to Vancouver, and I lived in 2 different apartments there. I recently moved home, and then I was doing it out of my office at the time there. And now, finally that I have my own place, I am able to build my dream studio. Now, first off, I want to go over some of the key features I want this thing to have. Number 1, it has to be aesthetically pleasing, but also practical. I have so much football stuff that you guys have never even seen just because based on the amount of space I have at a time. The second thing I'm going to need is an editing station. A lot of the stuff I've tried to do from my phone before and it just doesn't work. My MacBook Pro just isn't powerful enough for some of the file sizes that we work with, so an editing station is going to be key. Also, this is going to be my office, so I want it to be my gaming area as well. The third key feature I'm looking at for this is it's something that needs to be practical and can be converted in the future. At the end of the day, I don't plan on living in this house forever, and this is still going to be a finished basement for someone else a long ways away. You can see behind me, we have our laundry machines, we have all of our furnaces, we have a bunch of different plumbing and stuff in here that still needs to be easily accessible like any typical house would be. So my plan is to basically do a typical basement renovation, and then I'm going to skin a studio on top of that, and that way I can take anything with me in the future, and then once we're out of here, it'll still look like a finished basement for the next person. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to put in some must-have features that anyone with a studio like this would want as well. Okay, so here's my plan. So this first room here is going to be the typical entertainment space for any basement renovation. Now, because I have to work the design around this load-bearing post here, I'm thinking about doing something like a floating TV on this wall with a couple bookshelves here. I'm going to put a couch in the middle somewhere here, and then over here we're just going to do more storage underneath the stairs, and then we still need to have access and maybe some more storage in this corner for our main electrical panel and then all of our furnace as well. Now, a couple of the features that I'm going to add in here to make it more like a studio space and less of just a basic basement. I want really good pot lights in the ceiling to give adequate light to the whole space. I'm going to put a couple different mounts around the room if we do want to add any cameras in the futures, and I want a couch that's going to work well for a podcast situation where if we did want to do any podcasting in the future, we have the option to. It's actually a hint at something coming soon. Space number 2. So this space here is going to be the quote-unquote studio. You'll have to share my vision with me, but basically there'll be some walls that run along this furnace line here and turn this into an actual bedroom. The bedroom itself should probably go to about this wall here and be in line with this post, and so basically from here over is going to be a separate bedroom from the room number 3. Now, I have a couple different plans for things I want to do in this room. The first one is going to be, I've always had this idea to do like a Foot Locker style wall of cleats in here. So I want to do like a floor to ceiling display, potentially of all floating shelves with all my different models of cleats. So it looks like there's a Foot Locker in my room. Now on this wall, again, I don't really know where everything is going to go yet. I want to have some place where I can put all my helmets up with my helmet hangers. I don't know if it's going to be on this wall right now where all of our hiking gear lives, but somewhere in here I want to have all my helmets displayed. I also need to have spaces for a couple of my different Super Bowl posters. I also want to put up some of my different old high school jerseys that I'm going to have framed, put up in here as well. Also for the windows, I am going to have to do some blackout curtains in here too. The other thing I'm going to have to think about is where I want my desk to go and how big that desk is going to be. So based on the shape of this room, there's pretty much only 2 walls that will be usable for a long desk. I think it's going to either be on this wall here like this, or it's going to be on this wall here like this. And that basically also determines where I'm going to be filming from, right? I want a room that all 4 walls give me different angles to film in, and that way anything I want to do in the future, I can easily change up the angle and make it look like a really cool space, not always the same thing. Now, wherever I decide to do put all my cleats, I also do need a lot more floating shelves for a lot of our accessories. We have tons of our channel sponsor shock visors that I want to put up somewhere and make easy to grab. We have all of our ways to, take apart helmets and all of our tools and accessories and all that stuff that goes into kind of having a channel like this. I also have a bunch of filming equipment that I got to store somewhere as well. And that ties into one of the rules for this project to be make sure it is usable as a bedroom in the future. So to accommodate some of the storage and some of the other things, I need to add a legal closet in here. That way legally, because the window size is already perfect, I can turn this into a legal bedroom. Something, again, good for resale in the future and also for this basement renovation. Now, not as interesting, but still part of this, we still have to keep our laundry machines here because we're not paying to run these anywhere else in the house. I'm going to take these shelves here and rotate them so they kind of run along it this way. Now the 4th room is going to be in this general area, so think about it like an L-shaped wall that'll run here. We'll have a small mechanical room in here that houses our furnace, all of our ducting, and then maybe some more storage on the side where the electrical panel is too. But again, I'm not really sure at this point. One of the next steps will be to lay some tape on the ground and figure out where walls are gonna go. Now, a couple of features in this room that I do wanna make sure I have, like the other main room, I wanna use really good high quality pot lights that are dimmable so I can get the atmosphere in here that I do want. I'm also gonna run Ethernet from that panel over there where our modem is and run it into this room here so I can hardwire in my PC, which is lovely. And that's basically the basic plan. Now, before I can do any of that fun stuff in here, putting up walls, designing it, doing all the rough and electrical, there are some other things I need to deal with first that are pretty big deals that I might need a little bit of help with. Now, the first one is going to be the poly B in the ceiling. So if you're not aware, poly B is a type of plumbing that was used between the late 80s and 90s, and basically it became known for creating these pinholes in the plumbing, caused a lot of leaks. It was basically in every house in North America between somewhere in the mid, I think, 80s to late 90s. This house was built in 98 and it still has it. So if it was, you know, a fatal thing, obviously every house in North America built between those times would be unusable. The times where they don't want you to basically deal with it is when you have a finished basement and you can't access any of the plumbing, because ripping all the drywall out and redoing all that would give you, you know, more than 30 grand to redo all the plumbing in the house. But because all the plumbing is exposed and it is an unfinished basement, it should be decently easy to get in here and redo all the poly B and switch it out to modern PEX. Now, working with PEX isn't super complicated, but with the amount of different lines in this house and all the different areas it runs, plus the amount of stuff I have going on right now, this would be a pretty big undertaking for me. And that's where I'm going to be looking for some channel sponsors and some help for local companies in the future to help get some of the basic stuff for this renovation done right. And that way, then I can come in and really start to do some of the cool stuff. The other thing I do want to do is deal with some of these heat runs in here. You can see this heat run ends right here, but a lot of modern heating actually goes in the floor level, and that's because in a basement you do want all the hot air to go to the bottom and then rise up. If you do, you know, ceiling floor heating in a basement, all the hot air is going to sit about here, and then while I'm sitting at my desk, I'm going to be sitting below that line of comfort. So I want to take all these runs that basically end here, continue this down along the wall, and then put it in the floor down below. Now, clearly this is going to be a ton of work, and I have a lot going on this year, so I don't know if it's all up to me, if this is all going to get done within a year. I doubt it. So because of that, because I want to get into space and start making videos again, we're going to start with a smaller version of this space. Want to see that one next? So right now, this is our spare bedroom. And obviously this is a small scale test because it is a lot smaller version. But I'm gonna do all the exact same things I talked about downstairs in here first. I'm gonna do the same cleat wall over here that I talked about, all the floating shelves, put all the cleats up. I'm thinking on this wall, I'm gonna leave my desk probably here. I'm gonna do all my helmets maybe on this wall. I also do have a closet so I can play around with the ideas for storage in a closet up here. So my first step before I can get everything on the walls is I need to turn this into a usable office so I can start editing and get back into my normal workflow in this space. A couple things I do need to hang up are gonna be my YouTube plaque. I also have my signed Super Bowl print from Charles Fazzino. I'm also gonna paint all the walls in here something like a light gray, something that, again, when this turns back into a bedroom, when I move back downstairs, it'll still be a usable and good bedroom that we can turn back into a space for guests. So here's the next steps. I need to know what kind of videos you guys want coming out of this studio build over the next year. Now, I was basically playing with two different ideas. The first would be to do a weekly or monthly live stream where I basically work on the projects that I'm working on, live stream it, and that way I can talk to you guys, interact with you, and answer all your questions at the same time and kind of treat it like a monthly or weekly Q&A. The second would be a build series where, every couple weeks I release a new edited video where I talk about everything I've done so far in the space. Again, I'll leave this one up to you guys. Now, the next thing I'm gonna be doing right away after this video goes live is doing outreach to local sponsors so I can try and find some help to deal with some of the plumbing issues and some of the other HVAC and some of the things that are a little outside of my comfort zone. I can learn, but it'll just take me a long time and a time I don't really have right now. And while I'm sorting out all that sponsorship stuff for the basement, I can start on this room as well and getting this ready as a small scale test. The other thing I need to know is from you guys, what ideas do you have? I was thinking about a pegboard for gloves, again, the floating shelves for cleats. I have a bunch of different ideas, so I want to know down below, what are your ideas to put in this space? And that's all from today's video. I'm gonna get cracking on this. Let me know what type of videos you want to see in the future for this football studio build series. It is ambitious to get all this work done in a year, but I think if we find the right partners, we can do something absolutely amazing. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.